Good morning everyone. Welcome to Byjus Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the Hindu analysis of 5th July 2024. Let us look at the articles that we are going to cover today. There are three topics that we have to cover in detail today. The first one is the shape of a 5-year climate agenda for India. So the author here is talking that the new government has come and based on the experience of the last 10 years, they should have a longer agenda for the next 10 years also. So on the front of climate change, climate agenda, India can do a lot of things. Second is grave concern. This is another editorial and this is with regards to polio. You know, we all studied a few days ago also that how the cases of polio have been discovered in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and the whole idea that this disease could have been eliminated from the earth, and if it remains in these two countries, it's a matter of great concern. Third, education remains the most effective contraceptive. So here we shall see how, in order to control the population, it is very, very important and necessary that more and more people, more and more children and the young people, both men and women, specifically women, should get education. Moving ahead. There are two Prelims Bytes. Number one is Brahmaputra's lone female gharial's long wait for a mate could end soon. So a very good news that in Brahmaputra, gharial is, again coming back because most probably gharial's Brahmaputra had lost gharials in the decade of 50s. Though some people say in 90s they had cited it, but there is no proof to that. So again, a female gharial coming over here is a great news. And one more Prelims Byte is after Mizoram and Nagaland, Meghalaya declines Mandir tag for Ayushman health centers. So these are the 5 topics that we are going to cover today. Let us look at them one by one. And again, I'm saying, okay, just a second. Again, I'm saying today there are not a lot of, I would say, articles to cover. There are only 5, and this is the first one. Mr. Vaibhav Chaturvedi, a senior fellow at the Council on Energy, Environment and Water, CEEW, and leads its low carbon economy and carbon market research. He is writing this article. So basically, in this article, you have to understand, the heading only says, the shape of a 5-year climate agenda for India. What should be our agenda? So now, why suddenly the talk for an agenda? Because we all know a new government has come up. And he is talking up that they need to do the scaling up of climate action. Because, climate action basically impacts every ministry. Whether it is new, old, it impacts every sector, whether it is big, small, everybody gets impacted. So he's saying that we need to make our agenda very, very clear. Now, according to the author, in the last 10 years, during the NDA government, in the last decade, India has shown a lot of climate intent. A lot of progress has been done in this field. According to the author, earlier India would always appear to be a hesitant participant. But now, from a hesitant participant, we have moved on towards being a bold leader on these fronts. So I'll quote here what author writes on this. You can see, in the last 10 years, how did we have a transformation? Author is pointing out to 3 points on that. First, author is saying that we have laid the foundation for global institutions like International Solar Alliance, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, the Global Biofuels Alliance, as well as we have shaped the Green Development Pact under its G20 presidency last year. So, clearly this all shows that we are no longer a hesitant participant. Rather, we have become a bold leader by, laying the foundation of so many bodies. Clearly, India is a leader now. Second, the author says that India has started to talk about bolder and more ambitious emission mitigation targets. So here, the author is saying, for example, the 2070 net zero target, the ambitious nationally determined contributions, the fact that we announced the net zero, we have acknowledged the absolute emission reduction. And the third point author says is sustainability linked domestic economic policies are no longer on the margins. That is, again, the creation of an Indian emissions carbon trading scheme, according to the author, is a case in point. So through this 3 points, what author is saying, that in the climate change discussions, India has transformed itself. Now the author is saying that we should also have the goals for the next 5 years. According to the author, government must accelerate that our economic development, accelerate and show the world that India's economic development would be sustainable too. And here he has given a mantra. Let me, go back to that. He has given a mantra, Mantra is go higher, go wider, go deeper to align its climatic or climate leadership with economic powers or prowess. Please remember these 3 words: go higher, go wider, go deeper, to align our climate leadership with our economic prowess. So this all has been spoken by the author over here. Now, he gives a plan sheet for India, what all we can do in the next 5 years. So here, let me, first of all, write the mantra for you. Just give me a second. The mantra is go higher, go wider, go deeper. So with regards to go higher, the author is saying go higher can be with regards to global leadership. How can we go higher in global leadership? For this, the author says we can go higher in the leadership by hosting the climate summits now. The country could sooner or later host important international climate summits. For example, if we were to host United Nations conference parties in 2028, the author says it should be similar to how our G20 presidency was successful. Now, the next point author says is that, see, let's say 2028 we are talking about. Now, it is only 4 years. 24 we are already there, 28 we are talking about this, and he says 4 years when it comes to global negotiations is not too much, or it's not too far. So if we have to achieve something, we need to start the talks from here onwards, because it would minimum take 4 to 5 years to achieve any sort of consensus on any controversial topic. So author says deciding on what could potentially be the big wins in 28 and socializing these across countries to stitch alliances and allay concerns must start right away. So if you want to achieve these things, start working on them right now. So he says India should continue doubling down on the narration of equity when it comes to international forums. and should create leadership space for itself when it comes to international climate talks. Now, if you see, next one is go wider. Go wider means India has to adopt and strongly communicate sectoral emission reduction targets that go beyond the power sector. See, we have already achieved substantial progress when it comes to power sector, and we need to keep this pace with international non-fossil share related and domestic renewable energy targets. So, what the author is saying, go wider, that is beyond the power sector, look for other sectors, broaden our target in other sectors. For example, power sector, think about any other sector, it says private mobility space. So he says it would help urban India, but then rather it would also help rural India, would drive jobs in clean energy and etc. and all those things. So he talks about NDC for 2035 to be submitted next year. That is another thing that he says can be done. Third thing that the author is saying here is, go deeper. See here, we have already talked about go higher when it comes to leadership. Go wider when I'm saying, see, in one word, go higher leadership, go wider, go for other sectors, go deeper. See, India has a federal structure. Anything that is being decided by the central government alone is not going to achieve everything. So the government should think about creating a center-state coordination group, incentivize state-level climate actions through the 16th Finance Commission, promote a deeper integration of scientific modeling capabilities in policy making, facilitating a unified data measurement, reporting and verification architecture at the state level. So, please understand, state governments, for example, in this article he mentions collaborations with Tamil Nadu government, Bihar government for their plans with regards to transition towards net zero future. So, the whole idea is, again I'm repeating the word, India being a federal structure, we should not always centralize the climate actions but ensure state level actions are better coordinated. So this is the plan sheet for India. See, again, I like this go higher, wider, deeper, this thinking that the author has given. And personally, if any the question comes where you have to give your own suggestions, what all can be done to tackle the climate change in a more better manner, think about in this manner: higher global level, wider sectoral level, deeper governmental level within India. This is a very beautiful article, very good article, some very good points. Do study this properly. Moving ahead, grave concern. Now, I already told you this is with regards to polio. What was the ambitious goal? That there would be eradication of wild type polio virus type 1, WPV1, which would have been done by 2026. The author says, editorial says, it has become tougher. Though it is endemic only in Pakistan and Afghanistan, it is showing a resurgence since 2023. So this article is all about polio. And in this, they have given many stats, data, that this many, cases have come from Karachi, this many have come from Kandahar, this has come from this area, that area. We cannot remember that. Just for your, understanding, in 2022, Pakistan and Afghanistan, Pakistan had 20 cases, Afghanistan had 22 cases. 2023, both of them have reported 6 cases each. Now some people may think that this has come down, but then the problem is 2024, 6 cases in Afghanistan, 5 cases in Pakistan clearly shows in 6 months only that there is a uptick, which might take us to the similar numbers that was there in 2022, or it might even surpass that. And the problem is that these cases are not limited to only children. Rather, the circulation of the virus in the environment is seen to be rising, and positive environmental samples are being collected in Pakistan. So, for example, last year there were 125 positive environmental samples collected from 28 districts in Pakistan. Now, this is a very worrying sign. Now, I'm not going into, you can see, this entire first paragraph is only about these numbers and this conclusion. If you forget these numbers, I don't have a problem. I only want you to remember 2 things. Number 1, Afghanistan and Pakistan, they both are seeing wild type polio virus type 1, and the numbers in 2024 are only increasing. This is the first conclusion that you have to remember. Second, you have to remember is that environmental samples are also being seen here. So this rising positive environmental samples, they reflect that the polio campaigns, they are not achieving their target or desired coverage. In Pakistan specifically, if we say in urban areas, children do get vaccinated rather. But then in 2023, cases were found in Karachi also. And unfortunately, polio is something that should be eradicated from earth. According to this article, the situation is much worse. Please understand. Situation in Pakistan is worse than Afghanistan. And you please understand why we are worried about polio, because this disease or this thing which we thought we have eliminated from most of the areas in the world may reach the rest of the world. International spread may happen from Pakistan. At least specifically in Afghanistan it would happen, because you all know there are millions of Afghanistan refugees who live in Pakistan, and they might be evicted soon according to the Pakistan government's ruling. So we are worried that this disease, this polio virus, is only going to expand, and that is a huge matter of concern for the people of the world, because this is something that might pose a great challenge for everyone in the world. Moving to the third topic of the day, education remains the most effective contraceptive. Now, why we are talking about this? The reason is World Population Day, July 11th is going to be, celebrated. Now, India is now the world's most populous country. We became this in 2023. So China is now second. Our current population is around 1.4 billion, and it would be around 1.7 billion in 2064. From there it would start coming down, and it would get stable at 1.53 billion by 2100 AD. Now, everybody, you must have studied these in demographic transition theory in geography or wherever it is taught. But then you can see from 1.4 we'll be going till 1.7, that is 30 crore more people would be added as far as India's population is concerned. And then this would come down in the next 36 years by 17 crore. And finally, this would be our number. We have studied it many times. This time's prelims question also came on TFR. That TFR is reducing. It has, almost dipped below 2.1 and it would go down further. Now, experts are pointing out that in order to, control the population, one of the things we should take care is the sexual and reproductive health of the young population of India. A study recently done, and it referenced the National Family Health Surveys, conclude that there is a significant association between years of schooling and total unmet needs for family planning and unmet needs for spacing. Everybody knows this. The more the education, the better the population control would be. So, these results show that family planning among married women in India, and these data was taken from NFHS 5. Now, in this article there is a lady's name mentioned. I am forgetting. Yeah, here it is. This says Poonam Mutreja, Executive Director, Population Foundation of India. We don't have to remember that name. She is giving 2 factors for this total unmet needs for family planning and unmet needs for spacing. She says, first of all, women who get married very young age are usually from backward regions, not very educated, and therefore their agency to negotiate or even talk about family planning is limited because of the fact that they would be mostly uneducated, would be from backward region. They may not have that say when it comes to family planning. And she says this is a social norm. So even if, those social workers or healthcare workers, if they talk to young women, they say, the ladies, the young women, they tell the health workers that once they get married, they have to prove their fertility with children before family planning, and therefore usually there is no room for contraception. Another point that Ms. Mutreja says is that the country is increasingly seeing teenage pregnancies both among married as well as unmarried women, and yet families are unwilling to accept that their unmarried children may be sexually active. So this leads to the need for or call for sex education. It is because of the lack of sex education that this happens. Global, evidence show wherever the sex education is given, sexual doubt amongst the young people gets postponed. But when it comes to India, even the basic contraceptives like condoms or any other form of contraception is culturally and socially against the norms. So the author says, the editorial says that there is an urgent need to focus on young people, both men and women, to talk about their sexual reproductive health through culturally, please remember, taking into account the culturally sensitive behavior. This all should be done. Moving ahead, let us talk about the 2 prelims topic for the day. Number 1, Brahmaputra's lone female gharial's long wait for a mate could end soon. Now, great news is in Brahmaputra, a lone female gharial has temporarily overshadowed the one-horned rhino in the Kaziranga National Park as well as Tiger Reserve in eastern Assam. Nobody knows how this gharial has come in Brahmaputra. This is in the stretch of National Park, but they are certain that this gharial is now adult and is in the time of reproduction. So that means the river can be repopulating. Now, you all must have studied the difference between gharial and crocodile. So this is different from crocodilians because of its elongated snout. Gharial, also known as Gavialis gangeticus, was believed to have been wiped out from Brahmaputra river system during 50s. Some people said that they had spotted it in 90s, but mostly people thought gharial has been, wiped out from Brahmaputra in 50s. But thanks to this, female gharial which was spotted in 2021 in a Bishwanath Wildlife Division, it's a great news that Kaziranga finally has this. Gharial presently is 2.55 meter in length, has been recorded twice, lives usually 500 meters apart in priority area of this. Now, the good thing is, if there is one female gharial and if somehow we bring male gharials here, there are high chances that gharials could be reintroduced in Brahmaputra. According to the conservators, Brahmaputra has right conditions for gharial breeding program, specifically the Tiger Reserve. And that's why, if this reintroduction is once approved, a male gharial could be brought from Kukrel Gharial Breeding Center, which is near Lucknow. So please remember, we have discovered this gharial in Brahmaputra, and this is a female gharial. Male gharials could be brought from Kukrel. Moving ahead to the last topic, Mizoram and Nagaland, Meghalaya decline Mandir tag for Ayushman health centers. Now, what has happened? See, basically, Union Health Ministry, they decided to rename their flagship Ayushman Bharat Health and Wellness Centers. Please see, the new name would be Ayushman Arogya Mandir. So the old name was Ayushman Bharat Health and Wellness Centers. They would be named as Ayushman Arogya Mandir, and their tagline would be Arogyam Parmam Dhanam. That is, health is the greatest wealth. Altogether, India has around 1.6 lakh centers of this type. Now, so this is the new nomenclature. The thing is, earlier Mizoram refused, Nagaland has refused, and now Meghalaya has also refused to rename this as Arogya Health, Ayushman Arogya Mandirs. Now, why they are doing so? Please remember, Meghalaya's 75% population and Mizoram and Nagaland 90% population, they are Christians. Now, even though in Meghalaya BJP is a junior partner in the government, Nagaland also they are a alliance partner, but then regional parties are saying that there is a hidden agenda of the center in renaming it, because Mandir reflects to a Hindu place of worship, and they are saying that this is a design of Hindutva. See, what I am concerned is renaming, and another thing that I am concerned is, can the state governments refuse to rename it? Yes, that is the thing I want you to remember. Health is a state subject, and thus these people, these governments have a right to not do what the center says. This is the statement of the Health and Family Welfare Minister of Meghalaya. So that's how, health being a state subject, they are refusing to rename these places. That's all from today's articles. Let us look at the two mains questions. What are the major impacts of climate change on India? Discuss the mitigation and adaptation strategy employed by the country to tackle it. 150 words, 10 marker. Question number 2. It seems that the last mile to realizing the dream of a polio-free world is going to be challenging. Why is the oral polio vaccine still crucial to eradicate polio? Few days back we have discussed this. Elaborate upon the differences between inactivated polio vaccine and oral polio vaccines. 250 words, 15 marker. These are the two questions that you can write today, and let's meet again, same place, same venue tomorrow. Till then, goodbye. If you like the initiatives, do comment, do like the video, and do tell us what more do you want from us. That's all from today's lecture. Thank you. Goodbye.